I got knocked off. Okay, how's this? People all around? We're all good? Awesome. Thank you very much, guys, for coming out here. I'm very excited to be in Austin. I've been here a couple times, and it is good times. I just wish I wasn't flying out at like 8 tomorrow morning, so I could actually kind of hang out. But I'm here to hang out with you tonight, and I'm going to read some of Blood Promise here, a little bit of chapters 1 and 2, and then I will answer any burning questions you might have. If you're someone who's emailed me, you've probably never gotten to respond, so this is your moment. So think of them as I read. In this section, if you're familiar with the series, our intrepid heroine Rose is in St. Petersburg looking for something, or someone, we should say. And if you're not familiar with the series, just roll along with us and try to keep up. When I turned down a quiet street that was a shortcut back to my hotel, I could hear the soft sound of footsteps. I'd apparently raised enough alarm that the guardian had decided to follow me. Well, there was no way I was going to let him get the drop on me. I might have been smaller than him and wearing a dress and heels, but I fought plenty of men, including Mr. Goy. I could handle this guy, especially if I used the element of surprise. After walking this neighborhood for so long, I knew it and its twists and turns well. I picked up my pace and darted around a few corners, one of which led me into a dark, deserted alley. Scary, yeah, but it made for a good ambush spot when I ducked into a doorway. I quietly stepped out of my high-heeled shoes. They were black with pretty leather straps, but not ideal in a fight, unless I planned on gouging someone in the eye with a heel. Actually, not a bad idea, but I wasn't quite that desperate. Not yet. Without them, the pavement was cold beneath my bare feet where it had rained earlier in the day. I didn't have to wait long. A few moments later, I heard the footsteps and saw my pursuer's long shadow appear on the ground, cast in the flickering light of a street lamp on the adjacent road. My stalker came to a stop, no doubt searching for me. Really, I thought, that was careless. No guardian in pursuit would have been so obvious. He should have moved with more stealth and not revealed himself so easily. Maybe the guardian training here in Russia wasn't as good as what I'd grown up with. No, that couldn't be true. Not with the way Dmitri had dispatched his enemies. They called him a god at the academy. My pursuer took a few more steps, and that's when I made my move. I leapt out, fists ready. Okay, I exclaimed. I only wanted to ask a few questions, so just back off or else I froze. The guardian from the club wasn't standing there. A human was. A girl, no older than me. She was about my height, with cropped dark blonde hair and a navy blue trench coat that looked expensive. Underneath it, I could see nice dress pants and leather boots that looked as pricey as the coat. More startling still was that I recognized her. I'd seen her twice at the Nightingale talking to the Maroi men. I'd assumed she was just another of the women they liked to flirt with, and had promptly dismissed her. After all, what use was a human to me? Her face was partly covered in shadow, but even in poor lighting, I could make out her annoyed expression. That wasn't quite what I'd expected. It's you, isn't it? She asked. Two more shocked. Her English was as American as my own. You're the one who's been leaving the string of Strigoi bodies around the city. Saw you back in the club tonight and knew it had to be you. No other words formed on my lips. I had no idea how to respond. A human talking casually about Strigoi? It was unheard of. This is almost more astonishing than actually running into a Strigoi out here. I'd never experienced anything quite like this. She didn't seem to care about my stupefied state. Look, you can't pursue that, okay? Do you know what a pain it is for me to deal with? This internship is bad enough without you making a mess of it. The police found the body you left in the park, you know. You cannot even imagine how many strings I had to pull to cover that up. Who are you? I asked at last. It was true. I had left a body in the park. But seriously, what was I supposed to do? Drag him back to my hotel and tell Bellhop my friend had had too much to drink? Sydney, the girl said wearily. My name's Sydney. I'm the alchemist assigned here. The what? She sighed loudly, and I'm pretty sure she rolled her eyes. Of course, she said. That explains everything. No, not really, I said, finally regaining my composure. In fact, I think you're the one who has lots of explaining to do. Oh, she said, and added you too. Are you some kind of test they sent here for me? Oh, man, that's it, isn't it? I was getting angry now. I didn't like being chastised. Certainly didn't like being chastised by a human who made it sound like me killing Strigoi was a bad thing. Look, I said, I don't know who you are or how you know about any of this, but I'm not going to stand here and... Now she had something rolled over me, and I tensed, my hand immediately going to the silver stake I kept in my coat pocket. Sydney still wore that annoyed expression, but it was mingled with confusion now with the abrupt change in my posture. She was observant, I'd give her that. What's wrong, she asked. You're going to have another body to deal with, I said, just as Mr. Goy attacked her. Chapter 2. Going for her instead of me was bad form on Mr. Goy's part. I was the threat. He should have neutralized me first. Our positioning had put Sydney in his way, however, so he had to dispatch her before he could get to me. He grabbed her shoulder, jerking her to him. He was fast, they always were, but I was on my game tonight. A good kick knocked him into a neighboring building's wall and freed Sydney from his grasp. He grunted on impact and slumped to the ground, stunned and surprised. It wasn't easy to get the drop on Mr. Goy, not with their light and fast reflexes. Abandoning Sydney, he focused his attention on me, red eyes angry, and lips curled back to show his fangs. He sprang from his fall with that preternatural speed and lunged for me. I dodged him and attempted a punch that he dodged in return. His next blow caught me on the arm, and I stumbled, just barely keeping my balance. My stake was still clutched in my right hand, but I needed an opening to hit his chest. A smart Boy would have angled himself in a way that ruined the line of sight to his heart. This guy was only doing a so-so job, and if I could stay alive long enough, I'd likely get an opening. Just then, Sydney came up and hit him on the back. It wasn't a very strong blow, but it startled me. It was my opening. I sprinted as hard as I could, throwing my full weight at him. My stake pierced his heart as he slammed against the wall, and it was as simple as that. The light, or undead light, or whatever, faded away from him. He stopped moving. I jerked out my stake once I was certain he was dead, and watched as his body crumpled to the ground. Just like with every Sir Guy I'd killed lately, I had a momentary surreal feeling. What if this had been him? For a moment, I could see another face on Mr. Goy, and I promptly shook the disorientation off and reminded myself that I had important things to worry about here. I had to check on Sydney. Even with the king, nature couldn't help her keep him. Are you okay? She nodded, looking shaken but otherwise unharmed. Nice work, she said. She sounded as though she were forcibly trying to sound confident. I've never actually seen one of them killed. I couldn't imagine how she would have, but then I didn't get how she knew about any of this stuff in the first place. She looked like she was in shock, so I took her arm and started to lead her away. Come on, let's get out where there's more people. Sir Goy lurking near the nightingale wasn't that crazy of an idea the more I thought about it. What better place to stalk Roy than at one of their hangouts? So, hopefully, those guardians would have enough sense to keep their charges out of alleys like this. The suggestion of departure snapped Sydney out of the daze. What? She exclaimed. You're just going to leave him too? I threw up my hands. What do you expect me to do? I guess I can move you behind those trash cans and then let the sun incinerate it. It's what I usually do. Right, she said. And what if someone shows up to take out the trash? Or comes out of one of these back doors? Well, I said, I could hardly drag him off or set him on fire. Vampire barbecue would kind of attract some attention, don't you think? Sydney shook her head in exasperation and walked over to the body. She made a face and she looked down at Mr. Goy and reached into her large leather purse. From it she produced a small vial. With a deft motion, she sprinkled the vial's contents over the body and then quickly stepped back. Where the drops had hit his corpse, the yellow smoke began to curl away. The smoke slowly moved outward, spreading horizontally